The issue of abortion, of course, might not be settled by the Supreme Court at all. It could instead be settled by the gun. The family of Dr. George Tiller saying today there are no plans to reopen his clinic, no decision about their long-term intentions. Quote, no patients are being scheduled at this time. The man who allegedly took the right to choose away from those patients, Scott Roeder, was charged today with first-degree murder, the death penalty in Kansas not applying in this case. The judge setting a preliminary hearing date of June 16 and ordering Roeder not to communicate in any way with the family of Dr. Tiller. That family today announced his funeral will be held on Saturday in Wichita. It will be open to the public, and it says everything tonight that there are security concerns about the funeral such that our guest, Susan Hill, president of the National Women's Health Foundation, has yet to determine whether she can safely go and say farewell to a friend of 25 years. Our thanks to you for joining us and our condolences on the loss of your friend.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me.
Why would you not go to his funeral on Saturday?
We're still in the process of deciding and assessing the security risk. And unfortunately, I've been in this field for 35 years, and I've been to several funerals of doctors who've been killed. And they always were concerned about whether there was going to be any other violence at funerals. And we're trying to decide whether it's safe to be there.
In most complicated ethical issues, there are at least the two competing interests. With abortion, you have the interest of a fetus. You also have the interest of the women. Can you give us some sense of Dr. Tiller's commitment to them?
Dr. Tiller, I knew him for 25 years, and he was always a protector of women, and that was his utmost responsibility, he believed. I spoke to him 2 weeks ago. We were talking about various people that we were worried about outside our clinics. And I said, why are you still doing this? And he said, I can't leave them, these women. They need me, and there's no one else to do this. He didn't need to work, he had a family he loved, but he was afraid that if he left, there would be no one left to take care of women in dire need.
What was his view, as best as you can recollect it, of the moral issues that were related to these specific procedures that were controversial and that he performed?
Well, he knew they were controversial, and he believed that it was his job as a gynecologist to take care of the needs of women, and that he believed that they were able to make a decision with ample consent, which they always got from Dr. Tiller, and that he believed that women were smart enough and understood their lives enough to be able to make that decision, and he was there to serve them if so requested.
Many men faced with public criticism, with defamation in a public venue of any kind, can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, let alone don't put themselves in literally harm's way, never mind figuratively. Why did he not get out of the... Why didn't the figurative attacks on him get him out of the way, so to speak? What was there about this man that kept him in that arena despite just the verbal attacks, never mind what ultimately happened?
It was the women who came to see him. We, in our clinics over the years, have referred 11 and 10-year-olds to him who were victims of incest or rape, didn't tell anyone until it was too late. No one else would see them or would help them. He actually flew patients out from our Mississippi clinic or our North Carolina clinic and did the service for free for those types of cases because he believed that young women needed a chance, and a chance at a good life and a normal life. We sent women to him who had terminal cancer and didn't know that they had it until they were 27 or 28 weeks along. And I could give you 100 different examples, but these women, I always say, they weren't walking by the sidewalk and decided they would just walk in and have an abortion. These were women who generally, except for the younger ones, wanted to have a baby. They wanted to have a pregnancy. They had fetal demises, which is a death of the fetus in the uterus. I had a doctor who told me that it didn't matter if she had a fetal demise. It was her job to carry the dead fetus for another 10 or 12 weeks. Dr. Tiller did not believe that was his choice. He believed it was the woman's choice. And he lived by that belief, and he died by it, unfortunately.
Ms. Hill, there were reports today that the day before the shooting, this man, Roeder, was spotted trying to vandalize a nearby clinic where abortions were performed, and his license plate number was even reported, but there was no follow-up. What is your experience with the law enforcement approach to these domestic terrorists?
Terrible. It's been terrible. Like I said, we have a clinic in Jackson, Mississippi, the only clinic in the state. Women come from the Delta, the poorest section of this country, and when they get there, they are met with people who are jumping on them, screaming, threatening them, and the police do nothing. They will not enforce the laws that are in effect. We have federal injunctions, as did Dr. Tiller. It's not enforced, and there's nothing, an injunction is worth nothing if it can't be enforced.
Indeed. Susan Hill, President of the National Women's Health Foundation, again, our great thanks for your time tonight, and once again, our condolences on the loss of your friend, Dr. Tiller.
Thank you very much.